realized like I'm one of those husbands, one of those spouses that has stopped doing these things that I did while we were dating. And I'm like,
and before you realized that, you probably automatically just thought like, I'm the problem. She's just negative all the time.
all right, welcome to the April and Davey podcast. Thank you all for joining in. We have a super exciting topic today. This is for us, and I think hopefully it becomes a big deal to you guys, because this is like your marriage, your relationships. That's kind of the most important thing, like you having a good relationship.
Honey, you hung that picture.
I did.
I love it.
Thank you.
I'm very happy right now.
Surprise, I hung the picture.
Because that picture means a lot to me.
Okay, so today we are going to talk a little bit about this book right here, The 5 Love Languages, the book that saved our marriage.
Well, our marriage wasn't, we weren't getting a divorce.
I don't think we ever had a bad marriage, but I think all relationships, all marriages can do better. I think you can always do better for each other.
I feel like it was a very useful tool to have a better marriage. We will say that.
Yeah. So we listened to the Modest Shopping podcast, and they talked a little bit about this.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason I ordered the book, because here's the thing. I've heard people talk about this book, I think, our entire marriage.
It's been around forever. It's not new. Yeah, it's been around so long.
You know what? I just assumed I knew what I was talking about.
Well, it's just so crazy because there's 5 love languages. Do you know what are all the 5 love languages? You got them all?
Acts of service, gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch.
Physical touch.
Yeah.
So what kind of surprised me was when we heard the Shammies talking about this again, I kind of started to panic because I did not know what April's love language was. I was like, oh crap, I'm a bad husband. I couldn't pinpoint it.
Well, and I would just tell him, oh yeah, my love language, I was like, from the list, just hearing the list, I'd never read the book. I just was like, oh, acts of service and quality time. I just assumed those were my love languages because like on the list, I would prioritize those first. I was dead wrong. I was wrong. And I didn't know it until I read the book. And while I was reading the love language of the one I was crying. I was crying. And it was so sad. And I was like, I've sabotaged our marriage.
And then April finishes reading the book and she's like, just so you know, I was crying when I was reading this, and you're not going to like what you find when you read the book too. And I was like, okay, so I read it in like a day.
He did read it.
I was like,
one
okay,
day.
I need to find out what's happening. Why was April crying? And
I took the quiz at the end and I was blown away. I mean, once I actually kind of knew while I was taking the quiz what it would be because I was crying during reading that chapter. But I said to him, because he always just told me that what did you tell me your love languages were?
Physical touch.
He'd say like physical touch and then words of affirmation.
And then probably words of affirmation. Yeah, because I like, I'm sure physical touch my best, and then words.
Were you wrong?
I was a little bit wrong. April, I took the test just before filming this because I just finished reading it yesterday, and then I took the test. Do you want to tell yours first, or should we go?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I wasn't totally wrong because the test I scored like quality time and acts of service actually tied for second. So I wasn't completely wrong, but by like 2 whole points, something else that I did not expect took over the lead.
When April told me, like we're about to tell you guys, but when April told me, I literally, like I was already sitting down. It would have probably knocked me off my feet if I was standing
I'll tell
up.
you guys. So my actual love language, my first love language is gifts. And I could not believe it because to me that sounded so shallow. And I actually told Davey that I hated gifts and not to buy me gifts. And when we were dating, we weren't even married yet. I think we were engaged. Am I right? Or were we just dating?
When what?
When you bought me all those gifts and I hated them. I think we were dating. This is where it stems from, you guys. I'm reading the book and it's telling about people. It says like in the book, like gifts, and it's probably the most misunderstood love language because people automatically, you hear it and you're just like, oh, that's so shallow, like materialistic. How much money are you going to spend on me? It's not that, you guys. That is not me. In fact, I get way more, like my love tank fills up so much more if it's something that didn't cost anything, but it was like I could tell that person put a lot of thought and maybe a lot of effort, and it was like a really thought out love like gift. If it's thought out, it doesn't matter if it was completely free or if it just took like 15 minutes of your time. It means so much to me.
Well, and I want to tell you like why it blew me away so much, because like back in the beginning, back in the days, I used to do a lot of things for April. I used to make fun videos for her.
Those were my favorite.
I used to do all these things, but then, you know, Christmas after Christmas, birthday after birthday, I would give her these gifts, and she hated them.
Because what would you do?
They were so
Tell
bad.
what you would do. You'd go into the mall.
Was this more than 1 year? At least 1 year. I went to the mall, and I mean, I really, really tried. I would spend like 2 hours at the mall and just thinking, like, it was so stressful because I was like, it was hard on me because I'm like, I'm a bad husband. I don't even know what she wants, because anytime I ask her, she says, I don't want anything. But I'm like, well, I can't just get her nothing.
Well, I can't tell you what I want, because then I feel like I'm just like, I could just go buy it. If I'm like, oh, I want to buy that shirt, I can just buy it. But if I were to like get something that I could tell that you really like noticed that I wanted, but I didn't want to buy for myself because maybe I just felt like it was too expensive and I was like, oh, I can't spend money on that. Or maybe like the videos that you would make me of the time we had together, like all the video montages, those meant so much to me. I remember that's how I fell in love with you. I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy, even when he proposed, he had this like 30-minute video of journal entries.
Because I had no money. This is how I would show her my love.
I loved it.
So wait, back to the kiosk. So I'm wandering around. This was I don't know, 5-10 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but
yeah,
I felt like a bad husband. I didn't know what she wanted. And so what do? I let somebody sell me a gift. I walk by a dang kiosk, which it's not my first time. I have since been banned from talking to kiosk people.
I did ban him from talking to
I cannot talk to, because I can't say no. I want everything I bought.
Which is funny,
I
because
buy just the most ridiculous things.
One time he came out to the car. He was returning something in the mall, and I'm sitting in the car waiting for him, and he comes back out, and he has the biggest smile on his face, and he's like, you're not going to believe what I just got. It's so awesome. And he pulls out this furry little caterpillar. And
it was magic. The guy, it was crawling all over his body. I was like, holy cow, you're going to...
The second I saw it, I was like, how much did you spend on that? And he's like, no, but wait, there's more. It was going to be $30, but
for
because
one,
I bought 4 or something, It was only $70.
I got a discount, and then I opened the box, and there was a string attached to the stupid thing.
There was a piece of fishing line on there, and he immediately, his face fell, and he went, oh no, I thought it was magic.
And then we saw him at Walmart later for like $3 or something. And
it was in the dollar store.
Dollar store, maybe.
Like a year later.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you are officially banned.
I'm sorry if you own a kiosk or work at one, but
not only
a lot
kiosks,
of them are not good.
What else are you banned from?
Infomercials. Yep. I own it all. Like ab belts. I love everything.
That is Davey's theme when he sees a commercial. And here's the other thing that really bothered me is when Davey sees something that he wants, he immediately buys it. Like, I will sometimes just be like, oh, I shouldn't. And I don't. But like, I feel like he's just like, oh, I bought the new iPhone. I bought the new Apple Watch. And I would get really mad at him because I'd be like, well, no, there's nothing for me to buy you, because I didn't realize my love language was gifts, and I really want to get him something that he really wanted. But like, I felt like he would just immediately buy everything he really wanted right away.
But that's not my love language.
Right?
So.
Well, and then like while we were first married too, every time I'd ask him, what do you want for your birthday or Christmas or Father's Day? And every time, we didn't have money. Every time he would say something that was so unachievable, and it would infuriate me because he'd be like, a 4-wheeler. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd look on KSL. One that just ran that looked like a piece of crap was like $2,000. And I was like, we don't have $2,000.
And I'd always say, if you're asking me, I'm going to tell you what I would want. This is the best thing you could get me. This is it.
It made me
But they were
so
unachievable.
mad.
Always
and now
unachievable.
I realize why. It's because my love language was gifts, and that's how I was going to show you that I loved you. But I didn't need to do that. I just needed to love you in your love language.
So let me tell you what I bought that year. I bought lotion.
Oh my gosh.
And not just any lotion. It was really good lotion, and it was a lifetime supply. What? Baby? Yeah, we got a baby here. You want to say something?
Oh, don't wake him up more.
Okay. Shh. Uh-oh. Trouble. Shh.
Now I got to feed the baby.
We didn't bring a binky. He's making noise.
On the podcast.
Okay, so let me tell you what I got her that year. Okay, we're back, and he's eating right now. I bought her lotion, and not just any lotion. It was a lifetime supply of lotion. Anytime we run out, I can walk back to that kiosk.
And I was like, honey, that kiosk is not going to be there in 2 months.
It wasn't.
It's gone.
It's fine.
And it was like really expensive. And I had
I get discounts on this
jars
stuff.
of lotion, and I could go to my beauty supply. I'm like, I could have gone to my beauty supply and bought like the nicest lotion in the world.
I just couldn't express to her how much. If she knew the 2 hours I put into thinking about that gift, maybe she would have liked it more.
Everyone's going to think I'm a jerk because I didn't like the gifts. Let me talk about the first gifts that Davey gave me, because I actually really loved them as soon as I realized how much thought he put into it. But he got me a giant pair of slippers that looked like sneakers.
Those are awesome.
Those are awesome. Do we still have those?
I think they're tucked away somewhere. I don't know.
They might have gotten tossed eventually because they kind of got ripped and stuff, but I kept them for so many years. He got me a gold necklace that was like, it looked kind of like a snake. You know, those little snaky flat, like a flat snake. Gold necklace. And he got me, those were the 2 that I remember. I think there was a couple more things. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just remember opening them and I was like laughing because I was just like, what are these? Like giant, making my foot look like cartoons. And I was just laughing, but he was kind of like, oh my gosh, she didn't like my gifts. And I was like, no, it's fine. But I just don't know what I'm going to do with these. Like, so I don't wear jewelry, and but then I wore that necklace to our wedding because then I felt really bad. I'm like, why am I being such a jerk? And it's true. I shouldn't have been being a jerk. Like, that was a big mistake. And so then I actually very much cherished those gifts because I was like, oh, he really put a lot of thought into these. He's like, I did not know what to get you. I tried so hard. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, I love him. Like, and I wore, me and him would wear the dumb slippers around everywhere as shoes even. And that's probably why we ended up throwing away, because they got ruined. They
got used. So and
I wore the necklace to our wedding.
Yeah. So they got used. So year after year of me getting bad reviews on the gifts I'm giving her.
No, that's not true. Some of them you nailed.
Yeah, some of them were good. Here and there, I would give her good gifts.
Or surprise me with something that was like I didn't know I wanted. For instance, the Apple Watch. That was a Christmas gift, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I didn't even know I wanted this. I said I didn't want one, but like I put it on and I started using it, and I was like, that was a really great gift. Thanks, honey. Like, it was awesome.
So, eventually like the last few anniversaries, I'll get her flowers and birthdays, but she continues to say, I don't want anything. And so I just stopped giving her gifts.
Yeah, I would just like buy my own birthday presents or whatever.
I would say, yeah, let's just go shopping. Let's go grab you something.
Well, and when we would go shopping together, that was quality time to me. Like, that still is fun. Like, if that's the gift of I'm going to take you shopping.
Yeah, so we would go shopping sometimes.
I'm not mad about that. But, like, I remember one of my birthdays, like my last birthday, he got me nothing. I mean, I can't say he got me nothing. I think I got her a card
or something, or so I'd go shopping.
No.
Did I give you nothing?
No, it was nothing. Well, it wasn't nothing because we had agreed verbally that the trip we were taking was like my birthday gift. Because we went on, I was like, I want to go somewhere on spring break. And we went.
Oh, yeah.
We went on a fun family trip to spring break, and we did have a lot of fun. I was pregnant and kind of sick, and then we traveled home on my birthday. But I remember, like, I was like, why am I kind of weepy and sad on my birthday? And it's because I didn't get any presents from anyone. I bought myself a pair of shoes, but like I had told him that my gift was the trip, and I was like, the gift was the trip. And as soon as I like started telling myself that, I was fine. But I remember kind of feeling sad. And now, like, looking back, I'm like, that's wise, because I was hoping that he would surprise me with something completely unexpected, little even, like anything.
I think we're
that
both
I would
sounding like jerks.
we were jerks. Guys, our marriage is not perfect. I wasn't mad at him or anything, and I never even said anything to him until like I realized gifts was my thing. I just brought that up to him like today when I was telling him, or last night. But I didn't realize why I was kind of sad until now. I'm like, oh, duh. It's because you would have really loved to get a small gift or some kind of a surprise on your birthday from him. You would have.
So what's interesting to me is in this book, he uses real life couples, like changes their names, but uses real life couples to teach each of the love languages. And I don't know about in all of them, but in a lot of them, a lot of the situations he brings up, it's usually the husband, husband and wife, that he says, okay, what things were you doing for each other and with each other while you were dating? And what things have you stopped doing later in marriage? And even as I was reading it, I was
Country
like,
dancing.
holy cow, all these things we were doing when we were dating, I was doing all these little surprises for her, making videos, just all these little gifts.
Even the little dates he planned out were so thought out, like they weren't expensive dates. Like we'd go and have a picnic at the park and blow bubbles or something like, sorry, baby's coughing and choking while he's trying to nurse. It's fine.
And so I realized I'm one of those husbands, one of those spouses that has stopped doing these things that I did while we were dating. And I'm like.
And before you realize that, you probably automatically just thought like, I'm the problem. She's just negative all the time. I think words of affirmation is your number one because like anytime I would verbally say anything like or not approve.
Well, especially like when I would give gifts and they would come back without positive words. I was like, I'm not going to go through that anymore.
So it was toxic. It really is.
Yeah, it was a bad setup. And so I am eternally grateful. Like we're right in the middle of this.
I think things are going to be really great from now on. But I do want to say one more thing. In the book, it says like gifts is so misunderstood. And it talked about something else that I was like shocked about that it's true for me. If someone gives you a gift that is like over the top and like the relationship is not quite there yet, it actually really bugs people that are gifts for their love language because it feels like they're stepping over a boundary.
Or if you spend too much money on your spouse and you don't have the money, if you buy this ridiculous, if you buy a car and you're dead broke.
Yeah, if he broke the bank to buy me something, even if I thought it was beautiful and loved it, I would actually be kind of mad. So I'm like, I feel so bad for you, Davey, because I feel like loving someone that their primary love language is gifts is the hardest, in my opinion, because it's like, I can't tell you what I want. You have to surprise me, and you have to dang well know that I will love it. But I don't feel like it has to be very often. I feel like if I got one or two really thought out lovely gifts a year, like that would fill my tank up. And then the other two love languages, like I've never not felt loved.
Yeah, we've always spent quality time. I'm always doing things for her. Like that's like all day long.
But it wasn't like tipping it over the top.
Her love tank wasn't full, but it excites me because I know who I'm married to now. This was like a revelation. I was like,
for me too, though. I was like, oh my gosh. I told him not to buy me any gifts. I started crying again because I was like, how horrible. Like I was like, don't love me.
It's like if our whole marriage, if I was saying, don't ever say anything nice to me, just be mean to me. If I was saying that would make about as much sense. But
don't do that. Oh man.
So I took the test. I'm guessing I haven't told April what my results were. I'm going to bring it up right now, right here on the April and Davey podcast. Curious. My results.
Okay, I'm hearing this for the first time. What are they?
Okay, number 1 is, what's your guess?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. I scored a 12. That's the highest you can
really
score.
High.
That's the highest. Because
I was only a 9 on the gifts.
So that leaned way high that way in words of affirmation. I thought about it. I think that's why I enjoyed doing wedding videos so much for so long.
Absolutely.
At the reception, when they would say, this is amazing. They would say, you are so good. Like they would build me up. And I needed to hear that. That's what I loved. And sometimes I would film only a wedding and not do the reception, but that was just lame to me. But at the reception, I would see them crying. I would see how...
Mom would always come up and give him a huge hug and say, you did such a good job. I mean, everyone in the line's coming up and telling me how amazing the video is. And I remember hearing this, like, it was like an overflow of compliments every night.
And it sounds so like narcissistic, but that's my love language, hearing people say that they appreciate me.
And for me, I would be like, oh, stop. Really, stop.
April couldn't take a compliment, but it's not her love language. So that's why, like, a lot of all the other jobs I ever had in my life, it was negativity. It was what I'm doing wrong. I'm not doing this right. And that's why nothing ever worked out for me. In wedding videos, I did that.
So do negative comments on YouTube really affect you then?
I don't know. There's no comments right now.
Well, like in the past, when you would read a negative comment, did it affect you?
I try not to let them. I think it's different in person.
And it's different if it's your spouse. Like your love language, it's the most important when it's coming from your partner, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's different on YouTube because it's not like... It doesn't affect me. I love hearing good stuff, and the bad stuff, I don't know. I think it affects me definitely. Like you hear the negative stuff more, but it's way more coming from your spouse is what I would say. So you ready for number 2?
Yes.
Okay, number 2 and 3, I tied.
Oh, you did the same as me.
Yeah, they're exactly 7 out of a 12. And what are they? They are physical touch and quality time.
Oh,
Tied.
I knew the quality time, and I actually didn't, because that's not one that you had on your radar at all. He told me words of affirmation or physical touch, then words of affirmation, which you were wrong because it's words
Swapped.
of affirmation, and then I think it's so interesting that we both tied at a 7 for the other 2, because I tied at 7 for quality time and acts of service, and you tied 7. But your like words of affirmation was a 12. That's
the highest.
Like if
That's
you're not
everything.
telling Davey good job or complimenting him,
So
you
comment
might as well
below how awesome I am.
give him a 5-star or you are dead to him.
And
basically.
we'll keep doing
No.
podcasts.
No. But we both tied at 7 for our secondary, which is so interesting. But physical touch and quality time are equal to you. So he didn't even, like, quality time wasn't even on his radar when he just, like, threw out what he thought he was in the list. And when I was reading the book, realized that he was quality time, because if I'm, like, looking at my phone while he's talking to me, you would think that I just punched him in the face. Like, that's how he reacts
It's
to
a
me.
big deal. And it's not just her. Anybody that I'm with, if they're doing other stuff on their phone, they're not with me. I'm like, whatever you're doing, that's more important than being with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects me a lot. If we go out on a date and she's with her Marco Polo group of friends, like it's like they're on the date with us. I'm like,
And your dad last night, those were his love languages, was words of affirmation and secondary. He said, like he just said, I think they said they'd taken the quiz, but he was words of affirmation and quality time.
yeah.
And I was like, there you go.
There you have it. So with this new knowledge, this is April and Davey 2.0. Here we go. You just watch how in
We
love
are going to be
we're
so
gonna
in
be
love.
so in love. And no, I'm
No more babies.
no more babies. I've got my vasectomy scheduled very soon.
TMI. Sorry about that, everyone.
Oh, it's the real deal. It's a podcast. It's cool.
No, but I think that the reason why we're done is because I physically and mentally cannot handle another pregnancy. And at this point, I don't think Davey can physically or mentally handle another pregnancy because I am not the best at words of affirmation when I'm miserable.
This
Let's
is the
just be
first
honest.
pregnancy after it. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I mean, we both were pushed so hard. Davey felt like he was single-handedly doing everything, and I felt like I was just drowning because I was so, like, I have depression when I'm pregnant. Luckily, I don't have depression. As soon as I get that baby out, I'm
prepartum
fine.
depression.
I do not have postpartum depression. I never have, and thank goodness, because I know how bad it feels when I'm pregnant, and if I felt like that when I have to take care of a new baby also, there'd be trouble. Like,
And
my heart goes
rightfully
out to
so.
women
Like,
that
I
are
don't
going through that.
Yeah, I don't hold it against her because she is so sick. Some women, the
Yeah.
pregnancies don't affect them that much, but yeah, she is so sick, in bed, tired, trying not
It's
to
a
throw
miracle
up.
that I had 6 babies. Let's just say that. And I feel like I felt like even when I was pregnant with EB, I remember being like, I'm done, and praying about it and getting the answer of like, you've done a good job. Like, I had like a good feeling, and I didn't feel like I had to have more kids or anything, but I'm so glad little Frankie made it here, and I love him like to pieces. I just want to squish him and eat him up. Oh my gosh, he is just so precious. But like, I'm definitely done having kids.
Maybe we'll adopt one. I don't know.
Or 5.
Or 5. Doesn't matter.
It's not the kids that stress me out.
Babies.
It's that pregnancy. I just cannot do it. So he has to go to the hospital.
So this is my message to you guys, to guys, I don't know, guys and girls. Get this book, read it. If you've heard of it, if you think you know what your love language is, you might not.
I bet you're wrong, because I was. And I'm a know-it-all.
And I want to try to figure it out for our kids too.
They have another book.
Is there like a kid edition?
Kids' love language, and I absolutely agree. I feel like Zaid is the same as me. I feel like he is gifts.
Yeah.
And then probably quality time and acts of service. Like, I feel like he's so much similar to me that is probably him. And I feel like I can kind of see a lot of similarities between our personalities and our kids, and those ones like probably have similar love languages as we do.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of our kids where I'm like, I don't know.
Wild card.
Like, Evie's so young, I don't really know. And Ambry, I'm having a hard time. Like, I kind of feel it could be any of them. I feel like I know Ender's. I think Ender's a lot like you. I think it's words of affirmation, because if you say something to him that he doesn't like, he falls apart. So I really think we have him figured out in Zaid, but...
So figure it out, guys. Like, so many marriages are falling apart because, like, it talked about in the book that they fall out of love. He gets asked one time, what happens to love, after marriage? Why are we not in love anymore? So many marriages are falling apart, and they stop showing each other. Like, there's the in love stage, the euphoria of it all, but after that all goes away, you need to figure out how to show each other that you love each other.
I love one of the stories in the book. This is the one that made me cry. A wife and a husband went to a seminar of the guy, Dr. Chapman.
Gary Chapman.
Yeah. They went to the seminar, and then the wife was like, they just went home. And then, like, every single day, her husband was coming home from work with, like, a little gift for her, like a potted plant or something little, like chocolates or whatever. And she was just, like, thrilled. And she goes, oh, my gosh, why are you doing all this? What changed? And he's like, oh, I went to that. I just realized what your love language was. It's gifts. And she was like, oh, like, she didn't know either. But, like I think that people that, like, a lot of people might be gifts, but they would never, like, think that, because
it just sounds superficial.
It does, but it's very misunderstood. So I challenge you to, like, go read the book. And it brought back, like, childhood memories of when I felt the most loved, which is when I knew that it was like, I remember getting a leather jacket, like a forest green leather jacket from my mom for one Christmas, which in Plig school growing up, like, you didn't celebrate any of the holidays. I think we maybe did Thanksgiving, but we didn't celebrate. Plig school is short for polygamy? Yeah. Okay, when I would listen to that podcast, I think it's number 2 or 3. Anyway, so we didn't celebrate Christmas because Christmas was actually in Easter. Like, we'd celebrate the birth of Christ for Easter, but we didn't do presents, and we didn't celebrate Halloween because that was of the devil. So, like, all of the holidays were, like, kind of not celebrated. But I remember there was one, like, when I was in 6th grade, that my mom bought us presents because we were kind of rebels in the polygamist church. We would have been considered very inactive, but luckily, because I think that's what made it so much easier to survive through. But I remember getting that leather jacket, and I wanted one, and my mom knew I wanted one. All my friends had leather jackets, and I was like, I want a leather jacket so bad. But I knew we didn't have any money, and so I just knew it wasn't going to happen. But then I remember getting it, and it was my favorite color. It was like forest green suede leather jacket, and I just remember, like, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. I was thrilled, and I cherished that stinking jacket and wore it till it didn't fit anymore, and it was worn out. And I remember feeling so loved. Like, oh my gosh, my mom sacrificed so much for this. Like, anyway, it brought back a lot of memories of gifts that I've gotten that, like they were burned into my brain. And yeah.
I think that's why giving gifts has been hard for me, because growing up, we were super poor. So everything was homemade. Everything was cards. That's all I knew. And now we're not poor. We have some money. And so I'm just like, if you want it, like, just go out and buy it.
And I do. And that's,
like,
but
she
it's
buys
just
everything.
like,
what do you get the girl that has everything?
But that's the thing, is, like, when you would make me things, that meant so much. But even if you were to like be walking through the mall and saw something and thought like, I bet she would like that and grab it. Like
not at a kiosk.
Not at a kiosk. Like something that I'd actually probably buy myself. Then that would mean a lot too. Or surprises, like genuine, I had no idea he was planning this surprise. I don't know that you've done that very often.
I've gotten way lame with my surprises. Way lame, and I'm going to do better. You just wait.
Well, and don't you dare sit there and say you're the problem, because I am very critical. I think words of affirmation was like the lowest on my list. Look at it. What was mine? Maybe physical touch.
That's the lowest, yeah.
Yeah, like I could care less. Like
you're the opposite of
words
me.
could roll off my back, like whatever. I don't even remember what you said last week. What? You said that? I don't even care.
You were at 2 on words of affirmation. Yeah. The lowest.
Like I just do not care. So it's really hard for me to remind myself constantly, like like even the other day when Ender accidentally got left in the bathroom when we got in the car at the theater because I thought you had him, and like I was just like, I'm so mad, and I should have just shut up and kept my mouth quiet because it was
like,
fine. We
April,
noticed
I'm not mad. I hope
left.
you're not mad, but
I was
he's
like,
here now.
I'm
It's
mad.
fine.
Poor Ender. We both thought each other had him because I was in the bathroom too. Anyway.
So most often couples are complete opposites. Sometimes you have the same love language, but most often you're opposites.
What was gifts on yours?
Gifts?
A 2?
What's
C.
C?
No, that's
9.
That's
no,
mine.
that's yours.
Go over here. Oh, you put
I
under.
did it
Oh,
below.
he was a 1.
Low.
Gifts for him is a 1.
The lowest. Don't care.
Why am I buying you anything?
Don't. Be nice.
Okay,
Tell me you love me.
he does, and like I'm not gonna let it bother me anymore when he buys the things he wants himself. Because I told him, I'm like, it bugged me so bad when you would just buy up what you were gonna get, and then I have nothing to get you for Christmas. And I remember saying that to you every Christmas, like, well, there goes what I was gonna get you for Christmas.
I just bought a new drone.
I'm not gonna let that bother me anymore.
April, I just bought a new drone.
High five.
Thank you. We'll count it. Count it.
Good job taking care of yourself, honey. You're really good at that.
It's for business, okay?
No,
okay, guys.
I'm not mad about it. I don't get mad when he spends money. It was more the fact that I was like, crap, that took away the gift that I wanted to give you. Does that make sense? It wasn't about the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
I don't really care that much about money. I honestly don't. And that's interesting enough to know, like, I'm a gifts love language, because I could care less how much money we have in the bank. I really could care less. What I care about is feeling like I do want to feel secure, but I told Davey all the time, I'm like, I'd rather be happy and poor than rich and miserable. Like, I'll take happy and poor any day.
Why are birthdays and baby showers hard for you? It's all about receiving gifts. Why are they hard for you?
I know. I realized just now why it's hard. I always felt so embarrassed sitting there at baby showers or bridal shower or like birthdays and opening the gifts that everyone gave me. And I think it's because it was so personal, and like in my opinion, they were like telling me that they love me, and it was like embarrassing for me. Like I just didn't love it. I was like, felt like I didn't deserve it, or you shouldn't have, like, but I loved it, but I secretly was just kind of like dreading it and I was afraid of my reaction, because I remember having some negative reactions, and I know that that's not nice. Like, I would tell myself, like, you're horrible. Because if you don't like something that you got, then you can see it on your face, and that's so mean. And so you need to be better at getting gifts. So I'd like,
there's a lot of pressure
you.
on
Like,
you.
it was just a lot of pressure. It meant so much. There was a lot weighing on that. And so I hated it. But now that I know my love language, I feel like I'm going to embrace it more and just be like I can still just be like, thank you. Because if someone gives you a gift, you should just be really grateful. But I'm not going to tell myself that I don't deserve it anymore, that like they shouldn't have. Anyway, and recently someone that we had just should we like say it?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't talked to them about this yet, but I remember this. Davey was like, it's no big deal. So it's actually Bridget and Jason Shammy. We love them, and we have like just started hanging out with them a lot. We've known them for years, first of all. So Davey's known him, 20 years? 20 plus years we've known these people.
As I've known you, just about.
Kind of off and on, like
or
hanging
longer,
out with them.
Longer than I've known you.
There was a really like a 10-year area where we didn't really talk a lot or hang out. Like, we didn't have it falling out or anything. It's just we both were busy working, doing our own thing. But then like just recently when we got pregnant with our babies, Bridget and I started chatting again, and like we started hanging out, and now they're like really close friends. Like we're hanging out with them a lot. We love them. But when we had just started hanging out, I was still pregnant with Frankie, and they had just come off of a trip with us in Lake Powell, and we just had so much fun with them. And they had bought us a Duna stroller, which I know are super expensive, and they're like $250. And then they gave it to us, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. And I kind of like couldn't believe it, but I was also kind of like, it felt like a little bit of a boundary step, because I was like, we barely know them. And like, I feel so bad that like they gave us this huge, nice gift and we didn't give them anything. Like, and Davey was just like, oh, awesome. Thanks, guys.
That's way awesome. I was like,
that's really nice of you.
They have money to buy it. It's nice of them. They believe in the product.
But I was kind of like
cool,
wigging out. And he's like, what's the big deal? And I like, now it makes sense, because I felt like it was a little bit of a boundary. I'm like, I didn't know we were that close. You know?
If they were to give it to us now, like since then we've been hanging out, we're really good friends now. Not a big deal, probably.
Still been very touched, because like it means a lot to me. Like I'm not saying I didn't like the gift. I was just kind of like blown away, and like felt like I didn't know we were this far along in our relationship. You know what I mean? So it's really weird with me that that's my love language, because I all these years I'm 36. I'm 26. I wish I was 26. I'm 36.
You look 26.
Almost 37, and I'm just finding my love language. How sad is that? It's crazy.
So here we are. There's a buttload of pressure on me from here on out, but I like a good challenge. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. I just know what I'm dealing with now. So I'm stoked. I can't wait for the next birthday, next Christmas.
Well,
I don't know.
Just so you know, you don't have to like overdo it.
No, don't say anything. Don't say anything. I got it.
I will feel so bad.
No, I got it. It's good.
No, I'm excited.
Whatever it is, just tell me you like it.
And I will, because I know your love language too. Like, even if I hate it, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love it. And that's the thing, is like, sometimes, and this was the other thing that was so important that I feel like a lot of people overlook. In the book, it talks about the most important thing can sometimes be the gift of your presence, which I feel like is huge. Like, he talked about a lady that had a baby in the hospital, and her husband left that night to go play baseball. And so in her mind, automatically, the husband loved baseball more than he did her. But he was just so excited, because he was probably words of affirmation. He was so excited to go tell the boys that he had a baby and get everyone like patting him on the back. And like, he just wanted to tell the whole world. He wanted to go tell the baseball guys. So he had no idea that it hurt her so bad to go and leave her in the hospital, but she felt abandoned. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I'm going through something hard, like, I don't even need you to be there doing anything. I just need you there. Like, the gift of his presence. And I'm super lucky, because we've been able to spend most of our marriage working together and always together. And so I feel like automatically my cup will get filled with just him being there.
Yeah, not knowing her love language, I was able to give her the gift. I have been able to.
That's why our marriage didn't suck.
I've been here with her. We were together all the time.
Like, luckily the stars aligned, and we were able to kind of just like still be filling each other's cups enough to not hate each other. We still love each other. We still like each other. We still do fun things together. But when things got rough, things get real rough, because I was being negative and like breaking him down verbally. And then he just completely stopped giving me gifts. So it's like we were kind of just roommates for a little bit there. But we've worked through that, and it's been a lot better, even lately, I would say. But now that we know each other's love languages, I am like super excited.
I'm stoked. Okay, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. If you get a chance, give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube right now, if that's your video language, or if you like watching on YouTube, go ahead and
made up 2 new languages.
Comment below what you think your love language is, and then go over and read the book, and then tell me what it really is.
You guys, this book, don't be intimidated by it. I took like 2 days reading it, and he took 1. It's
short,
super lengthy.
Yeah,
you can do it.
You can rock through it. And if you get a chance, message us, reach out. We love hearing from you guys on Instagram. I know podcasts, you can't really comment on most places. Some places you can, but the best way for us to hear what you're thinking is on Instagram. So thank you for watching and listening to the April and Davey podcast. That's it for today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.